next we're going to have a special presentation from someone who is walking tomorrow, graduating with his master's degree, my brother who has educated himself and will go far. We'll be at Indianapolis. Hey, so this is the first in a 16-part series. I'm just kidding. I know it's been long. Thank you for your patience. I hope you've enjoyed the ceremony so far. I have a little piece that I want to speak, and then after that, a special surprise. Growing up, Bapu was the wisest person I knew. Which was funny because he was also the most immature adult I knew. So, naturally, this combination is a perfect fit for a teenage boy who was interested in philosophy, meaning, and spiritual life. One devoid of pretense and imbued with depth. So I started going over to meeting Bapu's house to hold symposia with Bapu, traversing the planes of human thought, the expansive and the profound, the crude and the joyful. Over the years, we read all of Melville's novels together, except for Pierre. We read most of his books together. In the living room, adorned with the famous mermaid on one side and a library on the other, we found joy, meaning, love, wisdom, and ultimately friendship. Hold on, I lost my spot. Here we go. He had this wonderful way of elevating the mundane and giving you confidence in your own capacity for creativity, joy, intellect, and wisdom. And that's what I think I'll miss most about him. He created an artistic and spiritual vision in the world, one that he welcomed you into, and to which you left with a different glow. You know, as I get older, I'm feeling more and more like Don Quixote. Believing in a world that is beautiful and how we can make it so. Many of us knew Bapu's admiration for that novel. I could always share that vision with him. Vaya con Dios, Bapu. And now I have a rule. Now I'll play videos. So, we read all of Melville's novels together and a bunch of other books. And I just recorded it, like hours and hours of recording. So I thought it would be nice for all of us to hear something that was a special piece of him. This was a passage from The Quest for Modern Deity, a book that he wrote about his spiritual life.
The faithful, however, say reality is meaningful throughout. No one knows what it all means, but there is abundant evidence that it is meaningful. We should examine this evidence later, but with or without such proof, it is the main tenet of faith that the world is meaningful, and that we are the meaningful part of its history. Truly, if the world is meaningful, we humans are pretty much at the heart of its present purposes, for we alone, among the creatures we know, seek a meaningful relationship with reality. All indicators, historic and scientific, suggest that we are destined to have a profound effect on our world. We are the seeds of some wondrous eventuality in the evolution of consciousness. We subjective creatures, spiritual agents of the cosmic self, are destined to use the objective world for temporal purposes and transcend it on our way into the realm of pure spirit. Sounds unreal, but that shouldn't surprise us. Every advance in the sciences of the very small and the very large, the nucleus and the cosmos, has overturned our common sense notions of reality. We can no longer look at our world and believe our eyes. We can only imagine the situation that we know exists at the atomic level. However, we cannot imagine the reality that we know exists at the cosmic level, the curvature of empty space, the relative passage of time. So why does the spiritual universe have to conform to our common sense impression that the world produced and will outlast the self? Let faith surprise us with its vision.
Okay, thank you guys so much. Well, I'm going to try to follow Bapu speaking at his own funeral. Luckily, he didn't know it at the time, but he told me the perfect thing to say. Song of Himself by Bapu. Walt Darring was born in New Orleans on November 7th, 1934. He was the third child in a family of 9 children, all of whom went to Catholic schools and prayed to the Blessed Mother. Walt was a daydreamer. He drifted through the lower grades, a C student with an advanced vocabulary but a retarded attention span. He had read only 2 books when he entered high school. He didn't like reading. What he liked to do was draw. Comic strips mostly, and World War II battle scenes in which airplanes and soldiers shot at each other with dotted lines. But high school changed all that. He went to high school at a seminary and studied to be a priest. There he found his voice as the class wit and cut-up, and set a record for demerits that is still considered a miracle by church historians. After 3 years of wild mischief, he dropped out and finished high school in his hometown as a quiet, self-absorbed boy. He attended a Jesuit college where he attracted notice with poems he published in the student anthology. But he lost interest in learning and came to believe that school was not for him. It was the tail end of the Korean War, so to avoid the draft, he joined the Coast Guard. On his return from boot camp, he met and married his sweetheart, Jean Marie Charles. And they set about producing a family to match the one he'd been raised in. Theirs was perhaps the last of the large Catholic families. 6 girls and 2 boys, none of whom, when they grew up and married, would have more than 2 children. For between the 2 generations were the late 60s and the early 70s. And by then, the family were no longer Catholics, they were love and peace activists, with children in the public schools. With Jean's encouragement and support, Walt had graduated from college, and with the GI Bill, he earned a master's degree in English, just in time to get a job in the new university that had sprung up in their town, the University of South Alabama. And that, roughly, is the story of his life. Because since then, he has taught at the same university, in the same department, the same classes. Freshman composition, British and American lit, and creative writing. For 45 years, he taught there, lived in the same address, drove clunkers, wore t-shirts and jeans, ate at home, and slept in his parents' old bed. But inwardly, he was growing. Having discovered Walt Whitman and Emerson and Melville, he became an American at last. He began to invigorate his classes with talk of symbolism and vitalism and transcendentalism. The pursuit of this new mentality sparked a kind of genius in him, which made him a beloved teacher among the best students and an admired colleague among intellectuals in the faculty. Then, at the height of his teaching career, he discovered the Airborne and Moby Dick. And thereafter, during the long decline toward retirement and old age, he wrote and rewrote again the books which are featured in this website. Now he can publish them at last. Along with them, he is publishing the poems and short stories he had written and accumulated over the years. Emptying the dusty drawers where they had yellowed, he sees them shine again. And finally, after all these years of teaching and writing, he lives with his first loves, Jean, their family, and his art. That is, his drawings and paintings. He has them hung up all over the house. The walls are covered with them. And more in frames are stacked in his studio, where he goes through them from time to time. What, he asks, will become of them? Who will love them when I'm gone? But he knows that when he shakes off this mortal coil, he will no longer care for the life he had lived or the things he had made. Old Walt Darring will become a memory for him and for his children and grandchildren for a time, and then for no one else. But in the meantime, he will be using what Walt has taught him to help him imagine and create his next life, which will be the same life, only different.